Shalom, shalom, family, and welcome back. This is Brother Maurice. Today, we're going to be talking about the God of heaven who is hidden from the world. During this time, a lot of information is coming back to those desiring to know the truth. The Bible talks about many other books that were written, and it's very important for us to begin to dig into these books. Because the God of heaven, family, has been hidden from us. Now, the restored version of Matthew chapter 5, verse number 8 says, "And blessed are all the pure in heart, who in righteousness seek to know God and his ways, that they might understand truth." And we're going to stop there. It says, seek to know God and his ways. Today, we believe that we know God, but we've been given a lot of things that weren't quite the truth. Now that we have the sealed portion, and this is the book that Daniel was told to seal up, in Daniel chapter 12, verse 4. The sealed portion, chapter 58, verse 51 says, "For light is truth and knowledge, and shall be given to all those who have perfected their lives through the words or the manna of Christ." How do we begin to perfect our lives, family? We begin this by treating people the way we want to be treated. We begin this, family, by showing love to all people. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 and 9. Because we've been given some understanding from men, but now it's time for us to understand the Father per the true scriptures that we should be reading on our own. And Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours. So are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Proverbs 14 and 12 tells us that there is a way that seemeth right unto a man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. We've been given many ways of death. Now, as the world begins to wake up, a lot of people are going back to the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And there we see blessings and curses. And so a lot of people believe that the Father cursed us. But now let's get some understanding of the truth of what happened. In the book of Malachi, it talks about the book of remembrance. And these are a series of books, because during these different time periods, different people kept these books of remembrance. Now, the book of remembrance of Melchizedek, in what's called Little Book, chapter 1, verse number 114, listen what it says. And when the proclamation sounded, the prophecies of my fathers were poured out. The prophecies of my father were poured out. And his thoughts in his meditations have brought about the knowledge of the consequences of the sins of the wicked of all the nations. Now listen here. It says, and the wicked will view these consequences as curses, even though they chose to have them. And they will blaspheme God and attribute what happens to them to be the anger and vengeance of God. And they have filled the earth with lies. And we're going to stop there. Did you hear this? The Father prophesied things that were going to happen if we did not keep his laws of love, his laws of treating people the way that we want to be treated. But the wicked view these things as consequence. They view these things as curses. And it says that they chose to have them. That's why in the Bible now, these things are written as curses. We have to understand that the Bible has been around for a while. And the Bible has been through the hands of many wicked people. So there are many things that have been changed, things that have been added, and things that have been taken away. And that's why in Revelation chapter 22, it stated what would happen to the things, to the people that did these different things. But now that we have the sealed portion, we should understand now how to vet the Bible for truth. And not just the sealed portion, but all these other books that are starting to be returned back to the world. And in the sealed portion, chapter 31, verse 51, it says, "And whatsoever ye find in the scriptures that ye have among you, that does not agree with that which ye shall read in this record," this being the sealed portion. So now if you're reading things in the Bible and it doesn't agree with what you see in the sealed portion, it says, "Then you shall know that it has been changed and added to or taken away. And if it have been changed in this manner, then the words of this record," which is the sealed portion, "can help you to know the truth regarding these changes, even the truth that was meant to be known by those who have written these things." Did you hear that? So we can see now a starting way to vet the truth, to vet the Bible, to find the truth. We have to understand all the books that are written, they all have been altered in some way or another. But it's important that you learn who God is. Because what did it say? Blessed are those who seek to know God's ways. So now we must seek to know God's ways. The book of remembrance of Moses, chapter 10, verse 28 says, "And all kinds of terrible atrocities and terrible acts of wanton cruelty have been attributed to God." But they call God a Nokoseed because Adam called the Father or God a Nokoseed, which means I am loving kindness. So when you read the books of remembrance, you'll see the name Anokoseed, and they're referring to God. And it says, "And all kinds of terrible atrocities and terrible acts of wanton cruelty have been attributed to Anokoseed. And he is, and God is, our gentle and loving one, who has the name Anokoseed. And he is the great I am loving kindness." Now let's go back to the sealed portion, chapter 18, verse 25. It says, "And do you think that you can become like unto our Father if you do not understand the things that the Father doeth? And the Father obeyeth the law of the gospel in all things." Did you hear what that said? It says that the Father obeys the law of the gospel in all things. But if that's true, the Bible said that the Father had the Israelites to kill men, women, children, and wipe out the animals also. So where in the world did that come from? Because it says that the Father obeys the law of the gospel also. We know, "Thou shalt not kill." And it says, "And he had commanded his Son, even Jesus the Christ," or Yeshua Christ, "to teach us this law." What law is that? The law of love your neighbor. treat people the way that you want to be treated. And we might learn to live by it. And if we live by the same law by which our Father liveth, then we become one with him. And then the atonement is fulfilled. So now we understand that the Father does not kill. We also understand that Christ does not kill. Because people believe that when Christ returns, he's going to be killing. But Christ said, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And now we see that the Father is loving. He is loving kindness. Let's go to the sealed portion, chapter 54, starting at verse number 9. Pay attention here. It says, for the Lord never gave a commandment to his children that they should kill one another, not for any crime or sin that they might commit among them, but that forgiveness should be given. Except it be those who murder another, but even these should not be killed, but taught the gospel while they are in prison, to prepare them for the spirit world when they should die. Now listen what the children of Israel did. But the children of Israel had corrupted the law of Moses and taught that murder of another was justifiable under the law unto those who committed specific sins among them. And that which have been recorded in the Bible, which are the words of the Jews, hath been passed down from generation to generation since the laws were first given by Moses. And these laws were changed. And these laws were changed to fit the fancies and desires of men. What's 1 John chapter 4, verse 7 says? It says, beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. And he that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. So we have a lot of people want to see their enemies killed and destroyed. That's not love, family. You're following another God, and that is not the God in heaven. So who is God? Let's go to the book of remembrance of Melchizedek. Melchizedek, chapter 1, verse 47. And a voice said, in the beginning was God, and God is good, and his goodness was before me. I was astonished and held my breath. And the voice continued, man in his fallen state does not think of God as God is, but leans towards viewing God as man is, and sees God only as the God of man. But God has the ability to penetrate this blindness and reveal himself to man, so man can see God as God is. Now let's go to the book of remembrance of ancient grandmothers, chapter 3, verse number 37. It says, and the Spirit said that to state or act upon the idea that Anoka, that's our Father, the one they call God, that Anoka is cruel or vengeful or wrathful, and that he kills and destroys, is in fact using his name in vain. And I saw that the wicked were able to define Anoka in this way, by the use of blood as the element of wickedness. And great will be their embarrassment when they stand before him, and such will enter into the light of his presence, holy, unclean. Let's go to the Third Testament, chapter 5, starting at verse 35. It says, I wish everyone would understand that God cannot have feelings of vengeance because his love is perfect. Neither can he send the pain. It is you yourselves who attract him through your sins. My divine justice is above your suffering and even your death. The pain, the obstacles, the failures are the trials that man constantly imposes on himself. And the fruits of his seed are what he reaps little by little. It is enough for me to let my light reach your spirit in each of these crises of life so that he may achieve his salvation. It is the Spirit of truth who comes down to unravel mysteries and reveal to you the knowledge necessary to give you the joy of true life. He is the divine consolation that pours out on your sufferings to give you a testimony that the divine judgment is not punishment nor revenge, but a judgment of love to bring you to light, peace, and happiness. The Third Testament, chapter 21, starting at verse number 66. Now you see that divine justice is made of love, not of punishment as yours is. What would become of you if I were to apply your own laws to judge you before me, before whom no outward appearance nor false arguments apply? If I would judge you according to your wickedness and apply your terrible hard laws, what would become of you? Then you would rightly ask me to exercise mercy. But you need not be afraid, for my love never withers, nor changes, nor fades. You, on the other hand, certainly pass away. You die and are born again. You go and then come again. And so you go, your pilgrimage, until the day comes when you recognize your Father and submit yourselves to his divine law. Family, the Father wants us all to get along, to love each other, to help each other, to treat each other the way that we want to be treated. This is the only way we will have peace and harmony in this world. Things are slowly going to change. The earth is going to get darker. And then, as this bright light begins to spread throughout the world, things will slowly get better. I pray that I'm here to begin to see part of that. I love you, family, and I pray you are able to receive this message. Shalom, shalom, family.